welcome to the Magical Moms podcast. We are so excited to have you guys here. This is our third episode that we're recording, so we already have 2 episodes out. This has been so much fun for us to record. Bridget, how are you feeling about all this?
I'm feeling still so excited. So this is our third episode, but there's still so much to talk about and get into, and I just cannot wait.
Yes. And fun fact, our producers just shared with us that we have already been downloaded in 8 countries, which is like,
what?
I don't know. I don't even know if I could process that right now. 8 countries. So countries like Japan, Australia, Chile. That's,
wow.
I don't know. That's amazing. I don't even know how else to explain the feeling that like people not here in the United States are listening to our podcast. Like that's
pretty
so awesome. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. So welcome to everyone around the world. That's
yes.
so cool. That's so
Thank
cool.
you for being here. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're thrilled to have you here as we're making this show with you guys, and make sure that you do subscribe to the show and follow us on all the socials.
Yes, you can subscribe to our show, follow us at Magical Moms Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You can also watch full episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/Disney content. And of course, you can follow me at California Disney Bliss on all the socials, and Lindsay.
And I am Chasing Magic Daily on all the socials as well.
Yeah. So welcome. Let's do this.
Welcome. All right. And don't forget to rate and review the show. So when you rate and review, it does help us out a lot. It gets us into more countries to hear our podcast. And also you get a fun little shout out. So we do shout out those people that leave us a review. So you kind of get to hear yourself here on the podcast with us.
Yes, and we do have a new review from SoCaliDad9. This person says, so excited for a show that's all about navigating theme parks as parents. Instant follow. So thank you so much, SoCaliDad9. We really appreciate that review.
Yes. And speaking of being part of the Patreon and leaving a review, we want to welcome our new Patreon members. We have a new member, Mary, and I believe Mary is in the chat with us right now. Hi, Mary.
Hey,
Thank you
Mary.
for being here. So if you want to be part of our Patreon family, it is a cool little perk. You get to be on these live recordings with us. So you get to interact with us, talk with us while we're recording. If Bridget and I forget something, you can always let us know what we've forgotten. And you also get access to a lot of other things. We're going to have some virtual hangouts, which we are really excited about. Just kind of hang out, have girl talk, chit chat, catch up. And then you also have access to our tip sheets. So a lot of you guys might be listening while you're driving or doing the laundry or whatever it may be. And if you're part of the Patreon fam, we have tip sheets for you that include kind of information about the episode. There are tips that we share in there that you can download to your phone or your tablet or whatever to have easy access to it. So if you can't write something down or you're worried you're not going to remember something, if you're part of the Patreon fam, you do have access to all of our sheets with all the good info from the episodes.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely come join us and get those tip sheets. We've worked hard on them, and all the information is ready and available for you as well.
Yes. So let's talk about what we've been up to, Bridget.
Yes.
I know you just had a fun little day in the parks.
I did. I went out on Friday night. It was actually really cool. So Splitsville Luxury Lanes in downtown Disney has a really cool promo going on till August, where it's kind of like a happy hour, but for bowling. So they do have a happy hour for like their food and drinks Monday through Friday, but now they also have it for bowling, where each person is $10, which is
no way.
pretty awesome, until 4 p.m. So, I'm a family of 5 that is saving a ton of money. So my kids love bowling, but it can really, add up, with all the extras. The last time I bowled, I was shocked by the sticker price. I was like, wait, what? This is the most expensive thing that we're doing. I don't understand. But yeah, so Splitsville Luxury Lanes in downtown Disney has this special deal. So we did it. We had so much fun. We did not know. We found out that West can bowl. He's 2 and he can bowl. He almost dropped the bowling ball on his feet like 5 times. But other than that, it was a really fun experience.
Oh, good. Good. That's good to know. I didn't know that. We are looking for ways to like do more, but also save more this summer too. Because we're a family of 5 too, and that adds up real quick.
Yeah. And so it's a great deal.
Let's see. And then I actually had a girls' day in the park with my two daughters as well. We did a DCA morning on Friday, and that was super fun. We just kind of strolled around. We did, what did we do? We did symphony swings. That's like a go-to every time for my kids. Every time we're in DCA, we have to do symphony swings. Yeah. What else did we do? We walked around. Oh, we ate lunch in Red's Garden, which that was our first time like grabbing something and eating in Red's Garden.
Yeah.
And it was
so
really
great.
cute. Yeah, it was really cute too because Red was actually there. So you know how they have that area closed off with a wall right now, that connector between Avengers Campus and Cars Land?
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
blocked off right now. And typically in the past, that's where I have seen Red.
Yes.
So I don't know if Red was just at the garden because that other area is closed off, or if they decided to move him because it makes sense there. But he was there, and we were eating in Red's Garden, and we heard the music from Luigi's playing, and we had our lunch, and then we had our soft serve, and it was so much fun. We had such a good day. It was wonderful. I love being there with my kids.
And your girls, I know they love ice cream so
Yes.
much. And I said this over and over and over again. The best soft serve, I think, in Orange County is at the Cars Land Motel, right
100%.
there.
Yep.
The soft serve is legit. It's legit. Yep. It's affordable. And I love going there for the soft serve. To the point where I don't go anywhere else now outside of the parks because it's so good there. So yeah,
Yes.
your girls know ice cream. You guys should do a whole post just about ice cream, like the best ice cream. You can
we
rank
could do
the ice
that.
cream.
We could definitely do that. Yes.
Love that.
And then actually we should talk about, Bridget, the chalk walk, because both
Yeah.
of you were kind of involved in the chalk walk. And I know you weren't able to go to the last event, but I was there at the last event that they had in Parkside Market in downtown Disney. It was up on the second floor there. And it was just they do these like nice events for like creators and influencers to kind of get the word out about chalk. And Bridget and I are actually both going to be doing the walk this year. Yes. We have not formed our own team. I know last year we had our team. This year, we just both have a lot going on this summer. So we decided we weren't going to form our own team this year. But we will both be there. And we actually had kind of a fun idea. I don't know if you want to share it, Bridget, for after the walk.
Yeah. So, the walk is a very, very early day. I mean, early. You start walking pretty much when the sun rises.
Yeah.
Before the parks open. It's really special though, because you get to see like behind the scene, things. Like last year we went like backstage to an area I didn't even know existed. It's really a special walk and I love it. It's a really special moment. But then afterwards you are starving. You are so hungry. You are ready for coffee and to relax and something yummy. So we're going to be having a little bit of a brunch for anybody who wants to join us and, walk with us, of course.
Yes. And a lot of the restaurants in downtown Disney do like specials for the chalk walk participants. So we'll kind of wait and feel out and see which restaurants are doing that. And then we'll pick an area. And then after the walk, if you want to join us, we're just going to be brunching and hanging out. So you can always come and join us. So make sure you're following us on Instagram to get more information about that too.
Yeah, we'll be sharing that later on. Another thing that I did, which I don't think we've discussed yet, is, and it was wild, Lindsay. I was a chaperone at Disney California Adventure's grad night.
Yes.
So,
I bet that was quite the adventure.
Oh, that was very unique for me. So I've been to every single Disneyland After Dark, right? All the different themed nights and so on and so forth. But Disneyland's grad night, which is a really historic, thing that they do, and they've been doing literally for decades. Regular people, the public, the general public cannot go to this. This is strictly for seniors who are graduating from high school, and if their school chooses to participate, really. And it's awesome. Disney California Adventure shuts down to the general public, and all the characters are like dressed in, grad night looks. It's themed. There's photo ops everywhere. There's special food. And of course, because the park is closed to the general public, ride attraction wait times are super duper low. So I got lucky. I was invited to go because one of my good friends works for the school district. And she's like, do you want to chaperone? And I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I've seen the videos of these like
in Cars Land.
In Cars Land with like a mosh pit in Cars Land. I'm like, this has to be something that I participate in. Absolutely. I want to see this. And it did not disappoint. It was so much fun. First of all, seeing Mickey and Minnie in graduation capping down, like that is That is really amazing. And the whole park was so cool. They had the most like interesting photo ops. They had all these like special things of entertainment going around, and they had a special World of Color show. And then they had DJ like parties, and they had the DJ party in Cars Land. And oh my gosh, I have not participated in a mosh pit since 1998. That was my last mosh pit time. And to do a Disney one was absolutely amazing. I was the only person over the age of 18 in the dancing area. And I thought I looked like everybody else dancing, right? I really did. I was like, yeah, like this is awesome. And they're playing like kind of like our music. I mean, you know, our music is still like relevant, okay? And they're playing like our music. I'm having such a good time. And I'm looking over and some of the kids are looking at me and they're like this. And I was like, oh no, I don't look like them. Like they totally were like, who is this spy? Yeah. Who is this spy amongst us? Like, get her out of here. But I had so much fun. It just made me so excited for when like our kids get to do this. And another thing that was really interesting to me is, you know, I heard all these like things about how, you know, the grad nights can get wild and there's, you know, bedlam and, you know, hoodlums running around. That is not at all what I experienced. All the young adults were wonderful. I had such a good time. I felt young again. So it was such a great evening. So yeah, if I ever get invited again, Lindsay, I can bring someone. You're coming with me.
Yeah, I'll come. I remember my grad nights. I actually got to go twice because one of my best friends was a senior when I was a junior, and you got to bring a guest. And so I went when it was my junior year with my friend who was a senior, and then I went my senior year as my grad year. And it was a little different back then. They did it, the timing was a little bit different, but I still remember very big parts of it. I remember we were at Disneyland at one point, and there was a huge DJ in front of the castle, and like I remember that being a big thing. Other than that, though, I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I do remember the dance parties.
So awesome that you got to experience that. I love that they do that. I really, really do.
Yeah, it is cool. It's very cool. All right, shall we get into some theme park news?
Yes, please. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with Epic Universe. So Epic Universe actually just did something interesting where their park closed at 9. However, they left the attractions, they were letting people into the queues for the attractions up until 10 o'clock. So they kind of had their attractions open later than park closing, which is interesting. And I wonder, so if the park closes at 9, does that just mean they're not letting new guests into the park, but guests can still get into the queues after 9? I don't know. What if Disney did something like this? Would that be?
I think that would be amazing.
It would be cool.
I will say, like on the East Coast, I noticed that their parks, you know, close earlier than ours do. That's something that people love about Disneyland, is that our parks do stay open till midnight, and you know, DCA sometimes 10, 11, whatever it may be. But I mean, I'm always all for the late nights at Disneyland. I think they're super special. They're super fun. And then also, you know, for a lot of people, you know, they're spending a lot of money on tickets, and we're spending a lot of money on Magic Keys. So to like expand that would be, you know, great. You get more, you know, more for your dollar.
Right. I wonder if they even did like, you know, like a Magic Key holder benefit, like queues stay open 1 hour after park opening for Magic Key holders or something. That would be a huge perk. Huge
that would be
perk.
Amazing.
Now, granted, it'd be hard for like little kids because it would be so late, but
Yeah.
it would still be a huge perk.
I think that would be a great perk. I always think of like top 3 perks for Magic Key holders, that being one of them. The second, can we get a Magic Key holder entrance line? Can we just make this happen, please? They have it on the East Coast. Can we please get this? Also, you know, the refills, you know me, the Disneyland popcorn refills, the Magic Key, you know, refills for the popcorn buckets need to be year round.
Yes.
And if we had all 3 of those, I would just be such a happy camper. I really would.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Disney, hear our plea.
Yes, please, if you're listening. And if any of this does come out, we'll do breaking news, we promise, on the Magical Moms page.
Absolutely.
We'll make sure that everyone knows immediately.
Yes.
But then something else that is very interesting. So July is a very, very big month for Disneyland. It is officially Disneyland's birthday month. Disneyland's birthday is July 17th. So there are going to be 10 attractions that are going to be either closed or closing in July, which is pretty unique for the summer. Typically, that number of attractions that are closed in the springtime when they do like their spring cleaning. But one of the reasons why a lot of these attractions are going to be closed and reopening is because they are prepping for Disneyland's big 70th birthday. So let's just go over this list really quick of what's going to be open and closed. Matterhorn bobsleds, that's still closed. I mean, I think this is going to be closed throughout the entire month. It doesn't, I just saw it a couple days ago and it doesn't really look like it's ready. The Enchanted Tiki Room, that's going to be reopening on July 3rd, which is great. And it's also really, really needed because that is such a good spot when it gets really hot to cool down. It has air conditioning, it's dark. It really, it's such a big thing to experience in the summer. So I'm glad that that's going to be opening at the beginning of July. Then you have, of course, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. So Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is closed and has been closed for so long because it is reopening into Walt Disney's A Magical Life, which that is the number one thing I am most excited about for
on July
Disneyland's
17th.
birthday. On July 17th. It's going to be amazing because Walt Disney is going to be coming to life right before our very eyes in animatronic form. And so you'll still be able to see Mr. Lincoln Presents, but it'll rotate on a stage. So you'll get to see Walt Disney, and then maybe the next show, we don't really know all the fine details, will be Abraham Lincoln. So that's going to be reopening July 17th. And also, Star Tours is closed throughout July, which that's pretty unusual. And Main Street Cinema is going to be also reopening on July 17th. It's only going to be closed for a couple days because when it does reopen, they're going to be playing special shorts for Disneyland's 70th
I didn't
celebration.
know that.
Yeah. So that's why it's going to be closed for a couple days. They're going to be kind of switching it up to being playing like special things for the big birthday. Then Storybook Land Canal Boats, that's going to be closed on July 21st. Then what else?
We have Casey Jr.
Yeah, that's going to close on July 28th.
And then we have a couple things in DCA, which is not bad. But I will say the one that always bums me out, especially for the summer, is Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. Because I love that spot for kids just to run around. And that one's closing on the 21st. So that one's kind of a bummer. And then we have... Oh, go ahead.
I have a feeling that's not going to be open probably until Halloween time starts because they're going to be getting it ready to transform it into Villains Grove for the Oogie Boogie Bash. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but that's my guess.
It's so long though.
Yeah, it's going to be long.
And then we have Incredicoaster that closes on the 28th. That's a bummer too. And then we have one that I really could care less about is the Pixar Pal Around. That's closed from the 14th to the 24th. That's totally fine by me.
Can we please get you on this just one time? Just one time, please.
Maybe.
Do it for the Patreon fan. Do it for the Patreon fan.
Maybe we'll make it a special thing.
Come on, Lindsay.
We'll see. But what I was going to say too, I was going to say, make sure you follow Bridget and I on Instagram because we actually both do a monthly, almost kind of like recap of news that's going on for each month. And we typically both put it out right before the new month. So if you want all of those dates, we will have those on our Instagram, usually for this, it'll be right toward the end of June. We'll have all those July dates out on our Instagram for you. So I know for both of us, that's a pretty popular post that we put out because people like that information. So make sure you're following us on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. And another, really interesting piece of news that came out this past week, and it touches my heart, of course, is a doctor from Chicago actually saved the life of a 17-year-old girl while on vacation at Walt Disney World. And this is such a heartfelt story. This doctor basically sprang into action when something caught his attention. And luckily, Walt Disney World has AEDs located all over the parks to help and assist in this type of situation. And so does Disneyland, by the way. Lindsay and I were looking at this earlier, and on the Disneyland app, you can open it up and you can actually search for all the AEDs, located throughout the parks when you were there in both parks, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. So this doctor shocked the 17-year-old girl's heart twice and kept her awake until the paramedics arrived and saved her life, which that is so amazing. It's so
Yes.
amazing. And it touches my heart, as some of you may not know, or some of you do know, my youngest child, West, he was born with a congenital heart defect. And luckily, we were able to find it before he was born. But at 6 days old, he had 2 open heart surgeries. So that's one of the reasons why chalk means so much to me, and I participate in the chalk walk. But, for a parent like me, knowing that when we're at Disneyland, that there are these life-saving devices located pretty much wherever you are in the park, that just gives me an extra sense of comfort. It really does. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that they do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is something that is easy to use. It's actually, I remember taking a CPR training class, and I think that was one of the things we had to do was use how to use an AED. And it is very, very self-explanatory. Like, it tells you exactly where to put it on the chest. There's like a guy that talks through it, and it'll tell you, like, it'll count down and be like, in shock. And like, it tells you exactly what to do. So you don't have to be a doctor to be able to use one of these things. But it's good to know that they're there because, Bridget and I, as frequent Disneylanders, we actually didn't even really know that these things were available until we saw this story and we looked it up and we're like, oh, we have those at Disneyland too. So just something to keep in mind and be aware of.
Yeah. And also, in both parks, there's a first aid station. And I don't know if you've ever been inside of it, Lindsay, but it is a pretty legit first aid station.
With nurses.
With nurses, and you can store medicines there that need to be refrigerated. If you need to lie down, if you're pregnant, and you need to just get some cool air and like sit back and relax, you can use these facilities. They're here for you. They're there for you. And again, that just makes, your magical trip even more magical and just gives you just a little bit sense of peace a little bit, knowing that there are things to assist you inside the park.
Yes.
Yeah.
So nice to just have that peace of mind. And if you are looking for that information, so if you open up the official Disneyland app and you click on the little map icon down in the bottom left there, at the top, you click guest services. It's like, you can click on attractions, characters, dining. Guest services is where you would head to. And then as you scroll around the map, you got to zoom in a little bit. And as you scroll around, the location for the AEDs is a heart with like a lightning bolt like charger through it. And that's where all the AEDs are located throughout the park. So just good information to have because you never know when it can come in handy.
Yeah.
So we are going to transition into a little bit of a game here. We're actually going to bring on our producer, Chris, which I'm really excited about. We haven't done a game with him yet, so this should be fun. So we are going to welcome him in.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here. I couldn't be more happy to be hanging out with both of you today.
With the magical moms.
Absolutely. Last week you got to hear from Danny, and today you get to hear from me. So how about that?
Yeah.
Very briefly, I wasn't in a boy band, but I grew up in South Florida, but I lived for about 12 years in Orlando, worked at a bunch of parks there, so I do know a little bit about something or other, but now I live in New York City in a corner in my bedroom. So here it is. This is where I work. Anyway, I do have a game. I'm excited to play this game with you. I came up with it last night. I was like, this might be interesting. This one, I love alliterations. Danny knows I love alliterations.
Ooh.
This one's called Disney Dilemmas.
Ooh, okay.
The basic idea is that, in my opinion, and I think that a lot of people feel the same way, moms are basically like superheroes. And one of their superpowers is problem solving.
Okay.
So in this game, I'm going to give you some hypothetical Disney dilemmas, and you'll have to give us the best solutions to save the day.
Okay, I love this.
Okay. And just so you know, we have not seen these. Like Lindsay and I have not seen these. Like, these are being sprung on us. Chris is springing this on us right now.
That's
so
right.
this is that's the dilemma right there. So we're just we'll see how it goes.
All right, bring it on, Chris.
Let's go.
All right, so the first one, your little one really has to go, and the bathroom lines at Adventureland are incredibly long. What do you do?
Ooh, in Adventureland are very incredibly long.
Oh, you go first, Lindsay.
Okay, well, here's what I would do. If we're talking about the ones that are like over near, I don't even know if they're still closed or not, but if that's really long, you go to the Tiki Room. Since you're in Adventureland, you go to the Tiki Room area, you walk in there, and there's 2 or 3 bathroom individual stalls. They're like the family stalls. They're huge. They're hardly ever anybody is in there. And you've got a whole like giant room to yourself. And especially one of them has a sink in it, it has everything you need in it, privacy, and then you can do all the things. That way, in case they have an accident or something, it's easy to change them in there too.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly what I would do.
Was that going to be your answer?
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Well, maybe like a stamped graphic. Problem solved.
Yes.
Okay, the next one. The kids are begging for some candy in Tomorrowland. What's the closest spot to satisfy your sweet tooth? Some will be easy, some will be difficult.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, candy, huh? I mean, tomorrow. Okay, so the great thing about Disneyland is that it's not big. It's a pretty small park. So if you're in Tomorrowland, I say you just walk right outside Tomorrowland, go on Main Street, and then you have the Candy Palace, and that's where you're going to find every single type of candy.
Yes.
Everything in Disneyland's so close together. People don't really realize that if they're coming from the East Coast or from other parks. But Disneyland's a very, very tiny park, so I would just head over to the Candy Palace. That's where all the candy is.
Yep. That would be my answer too.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm sure it's the right answer.
Stamp.
Stamp. Douche. Now I have to figure out how to do a stamp. Great. I shouldn't have said anything. That's my fault. All right, here we go. Next one. You're at Adventures Campus and your child desperately needs an apple juice. Where do you find it quickly?
Ooh, apple juice.
Oh, you go to Pim's Test
Test
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Because don't they have the Coca-Cola machine that has
Yeah.
like the million different combinations of stuff, and I'm
Yes.
fairly certain they have apple juice.
I'm almost positive that they do. They have
Okay.
like so many options. It's almost like you look at the screen, it's overwhelming. So I'm sure they have
Yes.
apple juice.
Because they have Minute Maid and like all the different flavors. So
Yes.
I would assume apple juice is one. So you
Yes.
can mobile order a quick drink, go run and grab that cup, and then just go over to the giant machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Then apple juice, done.
Yeah.
Done. Stamp. All right, let's do one more. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
This is fun.
Oh no, a shoe broke in New Orleans Square. Where's the closest place to get new shoes?
Oh, this has actually happened to me twice.
Okay, good. Then you take it.
Like when you're wearing flip-flops and that middle part comes out and then you just don't have a flop anymore. That's not fun. It's happened to me actually 2 different times in the parks. So I've actually, so there are multiple places that you can buy like flip-flops inside the park, of course, or shoes in the park. You're going to go to the Emporium on Main Street, or you're going to go to, there's a clothing store right next to the Silhouette Studio. I forgot what it's called. They also have shoes, depending on if you want like adults or kids or what the size is. But if you want all the sizes of shoes, all you have to do is walk out of downtown, out of the park into downtown Disney. It's a 5-minute walk, and there is actually a shoe store located right next to Naples Pizzeria. And then you can, your ticket and of course your Magic Key gets you back into the park. So if you leave the park, you can always get back in. But if you want all the sizes, that's where I would go.
Well, there you go. Another one. Done. Stamped. Done. Perfect. And that's how I know that moms are superheroes. Thank you so much for playing a game with me.
Thank you, Chris. I love
That was
that.
great. That was super fun. I want to do that again.
We have
Yes.
a ton more, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us, Chris. We appreciate
thanks,
it. And
Chris.
that game was awesome. Let's do it again.
Yeah, please. That was so much fun with Chris. We're definitely going to have to play that game again. And I'm seeing in the chat that we actually have some information from our Patreon member, Anne, who said that store that I was mentioning about with all the shoes, that actually just closed. So, and she is 100% right.
Yeah.
Things move fast right now in downtown Disney. They're doing a lot.
They
So
are.
instead of that, I would go across from that way, and there's World of Disney, which is like the largest merch store that we have in downtown Disney. And they will have tons of different shoe options as well, especially those fun Crocs.
Oh, yes. Lots of Croc options.
Tons of Crocs, lots of Crocs. So that would be plan B.
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
And if you have any like games that you want to see us play, or if you liked that game we just played and you have some ideas of some situations that you might come across, make sure to send us a DM on Instagram at Magical Moms Podcast. We would love to have your input on that, and we can definitely give you a shout out as well for that. So I think we're going to get into our main topic for today, which is we're going to talk about how we make our trips a little bit more magical, and whether that's like what we do beforehand to prepare, what we do at the park, all those things we're going to talk about to just kind of make the trip a little smoother, a little more magical, and a little more memorable.
Yeah. And I mean, like, let's be honest here. You have good days and there's bad days at the parks. You know, we've all had the most magical days, Lindsay. I know that you have, I have. And then we've had days that were just not so magical. And so from all of those days, you know, Lindsay has 3 kids, I have 3 kids. From all of our many days at the parks, we've kind of, figured out what kind of makes our days a little bit better.
So we are going to be starting with prep. So we actually do some things to prep for our day before we actually go. Like there's stuff you got to do at home to get ready to make sure that you are going to have this best day possible. So Bridget, what do you do like the night before a big Disney day to kind of get ready?
So for me, when it comes to me going to the parks with the children, preparation for me is really, really key. I've learned that having everything laid out or packed the night before helps me the most because mornings can get always so chaotic. And I like to go pretty early when I go with the children, especially during the summer. It's going to get hotter and I like to go when it's a little bit cooler. So I lay out all of their clothes. We also have to agree on the clothes that they're wearing now that I have a tween. And so we have to really go over the clothing. And also with the clothing, I always bring like extra socks. I bring extra clothes, especially for the toddler. So I pack all the clothes. I fill up our water. I make sure that that's chilled. I pack some snacks. I don't pack as many snacks as I used to because I was packing lots of snacks and lunches, and then we'd go to the park and not eat any of it. So my snack packing is a little bit less than it used to be. And then one big thing that I always make sure, because we have multiple cars in our family. My husband has a car. I have a car. I make sure that the stroller is actually in the car that I'm using to go to the park because one day I forgot it. And that was not a good day. That was not our magical day.
Rough.
Okay, I'll tell you that much. So I learned the hard way with that. But I kind of just make sure that everything's packed, ready to go, so that we kind of wake up, have a light breakfast, and just get on like our merry way.
Yeah, and what I would add too that I do all of that as well, but I also charge the magic bands. I make sure those are fully charged and any phone chargers. So I typically use the fuel rods, so I make sure I have at least one that's charged, and then any others I can just swap out in the park, which by the way, if you need a phone charger, fuel rods are incredible. At Disneyland, I think it's the only place where you can swap out for free.
Yes.
So you buy one and it is like is it like $35 for one? And you get all the different attachments and then you can swap it out an unlimited amount of times throughout the day. So definitely if you're looking for a charger that you can use all day long, you can just switch it out all day long there.
Yeah, and fuel rod is something that Lindsay and I both use. And if you are prepping for your trip, you can also find them for a little bit less on Amazon.
Yes.
And those ones you can swap out in the parks. They're in the parks. They're also in downtown Disney too, the swapping machines. So that's really awesome. One other thing that we do is bubble wands are very big in my house, especially because I have a 2-year-old. So I make sure that I have all the bubble wand stuff that, and then also the bubble wand soap. But just so you know, if you run out of bubble wand soap, and you will, you can get the refills for, I believe it's $1.50 or $2. I think like $1.50 at most of like the kiosks that are located inside the parks. So if you run out of bubbles, never fear the running out of bubbles thing because you can get the refills inside the parks, which is great.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, definitely a parent came up with that idea.
Yes.
So, because no bubbles equals tears. So that's really great. Another thing that I do, especially if your children are old enough to do this, is create a wish list. Set, expectations of what the day is going to look like. That's really important for our family. I usually let each child choose like one attraction or one experience that they are really, really interested in doing. And really, I stick it to one because you don't really know what the day is going to like how it's going to unveil itself. And so they each get to pick one thing that they're really, really interested in. And then we hit all of those on our park days.
Yes. Yeah, that is brilliant. And I think setting those expectations, especially with the younger kids, is huge. And I think letting them know like, hey, we're going to do the one thing you want to do. And then anything else is bonus. Like that's just more excitement. Anything else we can add to it is just great. So
absolutely.
Why don't we get into like actual day of? So I know one thing that I've done before, and I know you've done before, we've definitely done together, but with little kids is rope dropping. So rope dropping, if you have little kids, is probably one of the best things you can do because wait times are so low in the morning. So whether you have like babies and toddlers who you're going to go spend some time in Fantasyland, or you have kids that are a little bit older and you're going to do like Space Mountain and Big Thunder and all those. If you're there for those first like 1 to 2 hours of park opening, wait times are typically really, really low. There's a couple exceptions like Radiator Springs Racers. That's always going to be at least an hour first thing when it opens. But other than that, there's so much you can do if you rope drop. And it's just a great way, especially if you've got like one park day and you've got to maximize it, you have to rope drop. Like you have to rope drop. There's no, you can't miss that.
Yeah.
But even as like locals, we still do that sometimes. We'll rope drop so that we can go have my absolute favorite is rope dropping DCA in summer.
Yeah,
It is empty in the summer if you rope drop DCA. Like I just rope dropped DCA this Saturday by myself because I had to go do a few things. I was in Cars Land literally by myself, walking the trail by like where the cars go. And I was like looking for people. I'm like, there's nobody here. I'm by myself in Cars Land. And I just love rope dropping DCA. It's one of my favorite things.
Liz, that's awesome. I mean, when you can walk around an empty park, that is ideal.
Yes.
Also, with rope drop, another great thing is all the characters are out first thing in the morning. So if you want to see a bunch of characters just right off the bat, they're there when the park opens. They come out, you can get to see them really, really quickly, and then that's check mark off your list. So rope drop is as hard as it is. As I know, it's hard to get out the door, super early with kids. It really will be a huge benefit to you later on. And one thing that Lindsay and I have done is we put a lot of these tips, by the way, onto tip sheets. So for our Patreon fam, you have access to these tip sheets. So feel free to access that, get all these tips that we're talking about in a written form. You can just access it, while you're at the park as well. So, use these tips because, again, like I said, Lindsay and I have done this so many times and we're here to help. We'd love to help. Another thing is that if you're getting there super duper early, you're going to need coffee. Coffee is a big deal. And what's great is that most people don't know that there is a Starbucks coffee, if that's your brand of choice, on Main Street at Disneyland, and then also on Buena Vista Street at DCA. Now, from the outside, you can't see, it's not going to show you Starbucks. It's Market House, you'll see on the outside of Disneyland on Main Street, and then on Buena Vista Street, you're kind of just going to basically walk to the right where it shows you trolley treats, and then you'll walk into it.
Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical Cafe.
Exactly.
it's a
say that 3 times
twister.
fast. Yeah, exactly. But then also in downtown Disney, they have a Starbucks, and that location you can mobile order through the Starbucks app. That I think
I was wondering if you were going to give away your biggest tip.
No, I shouldn't. I don't know if I should do this. Now I'm already regretting it. No, okay, no. I had to do it. I cannot gatekeep this tip.
Can't gatekeep that.
Yes. Oh no. Watch. But no. Really. This is one of my biggest tips is that the Starbucks app works only in the downtown Disney location. So you are definitely take full advantage of that because you don't have to wait. I walk right in. It takes me a second to get my coffee, and then that's it. And I've just saved myself a lot of time. So that's a big tip.
Yes, because that particular Starbucks line in downtown Disney, if you rope drop, is long because everybody's getting their coffee. But if you it's not called mobile order. If you order ahead on the app, the Starbucks app, not the Disneyland app, the Starbucks app, then you can just go in, grab your coffee, and get out of there. Order it as soon as you park, or even if you're not driving, as you enter the thing, and you'll have it ready for you. So
exactly. And also if
Starbucks
isn't your thing, you can also mobile order any type of coffee or tea or breakfast items when you're in the park. You can mobile order as early as 7 a.m. So, when you're walking to the park or when you park your car or even from home, you can mobile order starting early as 7 a.m. so that you can have that coffee and that breakfast croissant from Jolly Holiday Bakery waiting for you. So yeah, that's a huge big deal to make your magic morning, start off great.
Yes. And another thing that I know both of us have done is the lightning lanes. So we have taken advantage of lightning lanes to kind of, again, it's one of those things, we're locals. We don't do it every time. I do, however, do it on special days. I actually just did it for me and all my kids when we did our, we always do a summer kickoff visit. And so we did that back at the beginning of June. And we bought lightning lanes, we brought treats, we just kind of go all out. It's like the one trip where I'm like, let's do it. So we did do lightning lanes, and it's just helpful because once the crowds start to come in, which is like 10, 11 o'clock, and it starts to get a little more crowded during the summer, then those lightning lanes come in handy. You can skip those long lines, especially if you're doing it. If this is like your one visit, I highly, highly suggest investing in lightning lanes. It will save you a lot of time and just, again, kind of make your day a little more smoother.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a Magic Key holder, you do get a discount of 25% off the Lightning Lanes or the Lightning Multi-Pass. And one thing I do have to say is that Lightning Lane and like the function of that at Universal is in comparison is so much more expensive. So don't let, it can really add to your day when it comes to your budget, especially if you have a larger family or a larger group, but it is so invaluable. It's so worth it to me.
Yes.
Especially during the summer. Super big tip right there.
And you know what I think too, Bridget? I think, Lightning Lane and the whole single and multi and all of this stuff, I feel like can get really confusing. I feel like, let us know, Patreon fam, and just anybody who's listening, if we did like something to include in our Patreon as one of our tip sheets, like maybe like a little mini guide on how to use Lightning Lane and what it means and all that. I feel like there's probably so many people that would be really helpful for. Send us a DM at Magical Moms Podcast if you would like something like that, or just DM one of us and be like, that would be so helpful. I'd love that, because I feel like that's something you and I could create, like a little mini guide so that they know exactly how to use this whole Lightning Lane situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you want to get your money's worth, you're going to want to be able to use it correctly.
Yeah.
And it can really, really, really just help your day. So let us know.
Yeah. Oh, Anne actually in the Patreon said that would be super helpful. So thank you, Anne.
We'll be doing that.
Maybe we'll have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, Mary said Lightning Lane could be helpful. Indiana Jones breaks often. Yes, and actually, if you have a Lightning Lane pass for a ride that breaks down, what's kind of cool about that is you get it's called a multiple experience pass, and so you get to use that pass for not necessarily any of the other Lightning Lane attractions. There are certain tiers. And so when you go in and you click on that multi-pass, it will let you know what other rides you can use it for, because it has to be on the same tier. I learned that the hard way. I went to go try it once for a ride and they're like, oh, it's not on the same tier. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. Same.
And so I figured that out. So, but anyways, again, that's something we could explain too if we put together a little guide for that. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a great
lots
idea.
to know there.
We'll be doing that for sure.
Yes.
Another thing that really helps our days become more magical is that Disneyland offers many, many different things to entertain you. Of course, there's attractions. It's a theme park. Rides are a huge part of Disneyland. But there's so many other experiences as well. And what we try to do is we try to break that up. If I have my 3 kids just waiting in lines all day, they get worn out pretty easy and pretty early. So what we try to do is we do an attraction, and maybe 2, and then we do an experience. And then we'll do a couple of attractions, and then we'll do an experience. We love the canoes. I think we're one of the few families that love the canoes.
Literally nobody in my family has ever done the canoes.
I love the canoes. And most people do not know that there's 1, canoes at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And 2, it's not on a track. You are actually doing the work. You are doing the work. And it's so funny because one of my favorite things to do is when I get in the canoe is watch everyone's expression when the leader of the canoe is like, oh no, you're doing it. You're working. We are not on a track. And they're like, what? Like all the dads are like, wait, I thought I was going to chill out. And like, nope.
Yeah.
And they will get
we're working.
They'll get on your case too. If you're not putting your fair share of work, they'll call you out on it. So watch out for that. But it's a super fun experience. There's of course the show in Fantasyland. There's, we've talked about this before. Also, it's on our tip sheets as well of different things that you can do during the Disneyland 70th, which is a lot of entertainment, and you can mix that up in your day.
Yes.
So that you're just not waiting in line after line after line. That's not very fun for anyone.
Right.
So we like to split it up.
And I will say too, speaking of splitting it up and working things in, I think another thing that parents can appreciate is just a little downtime where kids can just be kids. And the 2 best places for that are Redwood Creek Challenge Trail in DCA. That is a great little playground area. Not necessarily not like your traditional playground, but they do have a couple slides. There's rock climbing. There's tire swing, zip line. And then you have, I always forget the new name and how they word it, but it's Pirate's Lair. on or
Oh, Tom Sawyer's Island.
Tom Sawyer. Well, it used to be Tom Sawyer's, right? But I think it's like Pirates Lair Cove. I don't know. It's something. It's right across from Pirates and like Haunted Mansion. It's a little island. You have to take a little raft to get over there.
Yes.
But it's a great area for kids to just run and play and get the wiggles out and.
Yeah.
Just again, kind of take a break from waiting in line because like there's a lot of lines. My kids love Pirates Lair Cove,
Yes.
whatever it's called.
Pirates Lair on Tom Sawyer's Island. Yeah, and like they have the caves, they can search for treasure. And there's bathrooms on this island, just so you know. And there's also a water bottle or filling station on this island. So you're not stuck
picnic
on an
benches.
island. Yes.
There's picnic
and it's
benches.
shade.
Bring food over there. Yeah.
Yes. And you can wave to all
really
the
cute.
people sweating on the canoes.
Yes.
Right? It's a good place to watch them.
Hey, chump. We're
you're
sitting
like,
in the shade on our
we're
bench.
actually relaxing here.
Yeah.
And another thing that a lot of people forget about are the boats. You have the Mark Twain Riverboat, and then you have the sailing ship Columbia. And
Yes.
most people don't know that the sailing ship Columbia, you can go down on that boat, and you can see how it would have been to be on a boat during that era.
Yes.
It's really cool. You get to
It
see
is
like
cool.
the food that they're eating and their beds and all that stuff. It's really, really fun. So we both like to mix that up, break
Yes.
up the day a little bit, and enjoy. So that's fun.
And you can also do fun things like you can look for hidden Mickeys. I know I've shared a couple on my account. I think you might have too, Bridget.
Yes,
It's just kind of like a fun little thing to look for. There's just so many little tiny things that you can do throughout the day that just, again, make it more fun, interesting. Just all kinds of stuff to do.
On Amazon, they have different hidden Mickey books that you can buy. Also in the bookstore, especially around the parks, they have them as well, like in some of the gift shops. And it's so fun. It's a tiny little booklet, and it shows you all the hidden Mickeys, like all throughout the parks, on rides, everything. We had so much fun one day. Actually, I bought it just to do like for, just like to break up the day. And we wound up doing it for the entire day.
Oh, that's so
It was so
fun.
much fun. So there's so much to do, in the parks where it's not just attractions and waiting in lines. And that will definitely add to your magical day.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Let's talk about characters. So you brought up characters and seeing them like in the morning, especially in the town square area in Disneyland. All the main ones come out there. But if you're looking for somebody specific, or maybe you're just looking to find characters anywhere else, there's actually a space in the official Disneyland app. Again, if you open it up and you hit that map little button down in the bottom left, up at the top, you're going to hit characters. And once you've hit that, a little icon will come up like a little bubble with a little Mickey head everywhere that you can find different characters. So if you're trying to figure out where you can find somebody or just where you can find the closest character to meet, that app is going to tell you who's going to be in that area and around what time. So just a good thing to know, like, and also make sure to ask the cast members. Cast members are super helpful. I think, in fact, the ones that are specialized in characters have like a little thing on there that has like a little arrow and it says like, ask me about characters or ask me something like that, right? And it's like you can ask one of them for information, and they usually have like a little paper that they can kind of help you out to know when somebody's coming out or if they're coming out and all that good stuff.
Yes. And if you're a Walt Disney Worlder and you're used to Walt Disney World, one of the big differences between Disneyland and Walt Disney World is that our characters at Disneyland, they like freely roam around. It's very different than Walt Disney World where they're more stationed in areas. But ours, like you'll see the evil queen and she will just, better be careful because she might whip you with her cape. Like she just is walking around Fantasyland.
Yeah,
it
she
is so exciting to see these characters in their element, in their home, in their land, just really interacting with guests. That's one of my favorite things, is to watch the characters interact and have them interact with you. So if you're standing, next to, like in Fantasyland, like next to the castle, you'll probably see Gaston. You'll probably see, Alice
he's
in
the
Wonderland.
best.
Yes. Oh my God, he's hilarious.
He's so good.
Yeah. So even if you're just like, if you don't really know where to look, just walk around the land. You may see a couple of really cool roaming characters.
Yes, definitely. And then why don't we talk too about rider swap? I feel like that's a good one. I was actually, when I was just at DCA the other day, there was a family in front of me, a mom and a dad and a baby, and then like I don't know, she looked maybe 5 or 6 years old. And they had just found out the day before what rider swap was, because they were in line in front of me and I'm by myself, and try to help people out if I like hear them talking about something. And they were like, oh, well, you're just going to go with mommy on this ride, whatever. And I was like, do you guys know about rider swap? Because you guys can actually both go on with her just separately. And they're like, you know what? We didn't know anything about that till yesterday. Somebody else told us about that yesterday. And they're like, that's been amazing. Like, we've been using it. And I was like, yes, more people need to know about rider swap.
Yes, it's a
You want to tell them what it is? Yeah.
It's a huge asset, especially if you have multiple children with different ages or people who can't ride certain attractions. So what it is, okay, rider swap is for almost all the rides that have a height restriction, right? You have to, if you have, let's say you have a 7-year-old and you have a toddler or a baby. Well, obviously the toddler and the baby, they're probably not going to meet that height restriction for that attraction. So what you do is one parent or one adult can ride with a child that can go on the attraction. And then when they are done riding that attraction, the other parent or adult can then skip the line with that child and ride it again with them. So the child actually gets to ride it twice.
Yes.
Both parents or both adults get to enjoy it with that child. And the second time you do not have to wait in line all over again. So both parents can also enjoy the attraction as well. And it's great. It's a huge, huge asset. This also works for people who are unable to ride, an attraction, depending on what your limitations are.
Yes.
So all you need to do is when you go to the attraction, when that adult with the minor goes up to kind of check into the ride, right in the beginning, you just say, I need a rider swap. And then they'll tell you how to do that. Usually it's very, very simple where they'll either add it to your lightning lane, or what you can do is the other adult will be waiting at the exit and then they just go through the exit or a shorter lightning lane line. And then you get to enjoy the attraction. It's great. It's a huge asset.
Yeah, and I will say something I learned not that long ago. I thought rider swap was only for the rides that had height requirements. I thought that was the only time you could use it. It's not. It's for every single ride in the park, because there might be somebody who just can't ride a certain ride for whatever reason, and so every ride actually offers rider swap. So if it has a lightning lane, that's where the second group goes through. But if not, it's like the exit, or there's some other way to get into the ride. But I wasn't aware of that. So if you just have a child that is terrified and doesn't want to go on Snow White or whatever, you can still use rider swap on that ride.
Yeah, that's great. I love that they do that. It really helps with families, just for everyone to be able to enjoy an attraction.
Yes. And then we also have single rider. So single rider is great. If you... Let's say you've got mom, dad, 2 kids, and dad really wants to ride the Incredicoaster and mom has no interest in riding Incredicoaster. Dad can take advantage, Bridget,
Me.
Dad can take advantage of the single rider line on Incredicoaster. It's just a separate line, and you basically are like the filler person. So whenever there's a group of 3 and they're just taking up 3 spots, well, you're the single one that'll come in and fill in that second spot. So you basically, single rider acts as the filler group. There's how many, Bridget? Maybe 7 or 8 rides in total at the resort that have it.
It does change sometimes. Sometimes it does change, but for the most part, stuff like the bigger rides, like Radiator Springs Racers.
Yes.
The single rider line has, I know, saved you. It saved me multiple times. The last time I was actually on the single rider line, I was with another adult. I was with my friend, and we just did not want to wait the 45 minutes. So I was like, let's just do the single rider line. And guess what? We were sat next to each other.
Perfect.
So
sometimes
you just never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it definitely is a time saver for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Sure.
So definitely check out the single rider lines. Again, I think that's something you can search in the Disneyland app. If you just search single rider lines, it'll show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Bridget, I feel like we have talked about so much, and I feel like there's still so much more we could talk about. I feel like maybe we should make this a part 2.
I totally agree. We have way more magical tips to make your day more magical. So let's definitely save that for the next episode.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, watching. If you're part of the Patreon fam, thank you so much for being here live with us. We love having you guys. And thank you guys for entering the conversation and helping us out and letting us know that the shoe store is closed. We appreciate that. Those are the kinds of things we need you guys for. So make sure if you want to join that Patreon fam that you search in Patreon Magical Moms Podcast. You can find us that way. And please rate and review our show. We really appreciate it. We want to get out to more people and help more people have these magical days in the park.
Yeah, and if you want to suggest tips or topics we should cover, you can email us also at magicalmomspodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us on social media. You can also subscribe subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast, and definitely follow us on Magical Moms Podcast on all your socials.
Yep. And if you're part of the Patreon fam too, we'll hopefully see you in the private Facebook group where we're kind of like chatting and hanging out there too as well.
Yeah.
So until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Did it.
Nailed it.
Got it.